right, and welcome to a special edition of Who's Your Caddy. We are live an hour early to help celebrate Valentine's Day. So, welcome to the Lonely Hearts Club. Kelly is MIA. She's off doing fun things, so I'm going to take over and give her picks and then my picks. So, if you have any questions or anything like that, let us know via Twitter. Again, my Twitter handle is at Mr. Hallas, and then Kelly's is obviously Kelly Leighton Phoenix. But we look for Kelly in Phoenix, and so we look forward to any and all questions that you may have. So to get right into it, we are at the Genesis Invitational this week. It would be played at the Riviera Golf Club, built in 1927. It is a switchback type of course, so that means when we have a tight course, it's built in like the nestled hills of, let's call it Hollywood. But it's nestled in tight packs, so we have several holes just kind of going back and forth on each other. So it's a lot of trees down the line of the rough to help separate the two holes. And so we're going to have a lot of that. A lot of the course is fairly straight. When you look at kind of the diagrams of the course, everything's pretty straightforward, especially the par threes. But we do have some pretty long par threes. We have one of the most famous short par fours on the hole number 10. It is a drivable hole number 4, but it's also ranked the second toughest hole, par 4 under 350 yards. So we'll be looking at that. Overall, the course is about average, 7,300 yards. Last week, I think we were at 7,200 yards, so we just went up a few this week. So it is also, we do have a lot of tough greens, a lot of bunkers, especially hole number 6, where there's a bunker in the middle of the green. We also want to bring up that this is Tiger Woods' course. He'll be playing the event. It's kind of not a huge surprise because it's kind of his event that he hosts. A lot of people may pick him just for, the shits and giggles of it, for nostalgia. But he says he wouldn't come back unless he could be competitive. So we look forward to seeing what Tiger Woods can do there. Some of the things that we'll be looking at on this course. So we'll be looking at approach around the green. So there's going to be a lot of sand around these greens, a lot of bunkers that are guarding these greens. We're going to be looking at sand save percentage. We'll be looking at scrambling, shots gained on putting a POA. So they're POA greens, very undulating greens. So we get different levels to them. Birdie or better percentage, driving accuracy, and driving distance. We do have some long holes, but we also have some narrow fairways on those approaches. So it's going to be a fairly tough course. So the winners in the past, James Hahn in 2015 won it with -6. DJ and others have won it in -17 and -18. So it varies and just depends on how the course is playing the golfers this week. So we'll have to take a look at that. So next up, we'll go into the picks. I'll be giving Kelly's picks. And since she's not here to rebuttal, I want to give my take on those picks as well as my picks. And since she's not here to rebuttal against my picks, I'm going to think they're the most perfect picks ever. So moving forward, we're in the most expensive portion of the picks, so we're looking at 9 to 10K plus. So Kelly has picked Max Homa and Roy for these two expensive range picks. And I think these two picks are probably one of the better picks for this type of price range. Max Homa has done well on this course. I would say it's kind of his home course. And then Roy, it could be shaping up to do well here. Here's an interesting thing that I read about Roy, about John Rahm, and then we'll look at some others too. But Scotty Scheffler and John Rahm have not done well as well. They've done, in the top 10, but they've not done as well in back-to-back tournaments when they play back-to-back. The one of the few golfers that does play well is Roy, and so he's coming off the Waste Management Open or Phoenix Open last weekend, and he's going into the Genesis this weekend. So I think Roy's got a pretty good chance. So I think these are pretty fantastic picks, and I know it's going to give Kelly a little bit of shit for picking two picks on these expensive round, but these are pretty good. My picks, to be a little bit contradictory, I picked Colin Morikawa and Xander Schauffele. I think these two um, overall will do pretty well here. It's a ball striking course, and both these two are doing pretty well at the ball striking category. Um, some things I looked at for these, I think Colin Morikawa will kind of break out on this course. He hasn't been doing as well. When you look at some of his past, last weekend he came in at 88. He didn't make the cut. Previous weekends he was at 3 and 2, and then shot back up to 15th, 29th, 45th. I think this weekend, this course, Colin Morikawa breaks out. I mean, he's stellar off the tee, a pretty good approach, great ball striking. Not very long, but his accuracy is there, and so I'm hoping his accuracy will make up for his lack of distance. And so I think he'll do pretty well there. Same thing with Xander. While Xander does have a little bit longer distance, his history and trending here is pretty good. Again, Xander is great. Shots gained total. Tee to green, he's wonderful. And then again, ball striking is pretty good, and his approach and around the green are also great. The one thing that I would say is that a possible drawback to him is his driving accuracy is not there. So where Colin Morikawa is at 74%, Xander's only at about 60, or I would say 60%. But he does have a little bit longer distance. So obviously trying to get more off the tee, a little bit more distance, he's going to give up a little bit that accuracy. One things I do kind of worry about Xander is kind of his proximity on approach stats when he's looking at anything greater than 200. He doesn't do too well there, but outside of that, I think he's a pretty good pick for this range. Moving on. So our next little range here is between the 8 and 9K range, and Kelly picked Cam Young and Will Zalatoris. I think Cam Young has a pretty good shot at this as well. I think he has similar stats on being able to approach and striking, ball striking, and I think he'll do pretty well. I think this is a pretty good pick. The one thing I'll say is that his scrambling and sand save is probably not the best, but 313 off the tee, driving accuracy is about 60%, same as Xander. He just needs to get his putter going. Once he gets his putter going, he'll be fine. Will Zalatoris, however, I think is trending down. Well, I think this is a pretty good pick. I think Will Zalatoris in the past has played well here at Riviera. The one thing I see, yeah, it's unfair to Kelly because I read about it and being like, hey, Will Zalatoris can't save himself when he gets into the sand. And he is horrible out of the sand. And a lot of greens around here are surrounded by lots of sand. And so I just think that he's going to get himself in trouble and get flustered. And I think he's kind of in one of those slumps, I hope he gets out of it. So we got Cam Young and Will Zalatoris for Kelly. And then for me, I have Victor Hovland, Adam Scott, Tom Kim, and Jason Day. Going for Victor Hovland, I think when I see him and what he can do here, it's been pretty good. His history here has been pretty good. When you look at overall stats, that are important to what we're looking for. His approach is okay. His ball striking's okay. What I'm looking for is driving distance, pretty good, and then accuracy's there. It's about 65%. The one thing again I like is his short game approach. So anything 125 to 150 is pretty good, pretty decent, and he can get himself out of a jam. So he's got pretty good scrambling ability and good save percentage. So I do like him here. And like I said, my next pick was Adam Scott with $88,000 in DraftKings. And so Adam Scott again has a fairly good history here. Has made the cut. He's been playing some pretty good golf lately. In his last 10 events, he's mostly made the cut. I would say 90% of the time. His strokes gained, ball striking is doing okay, but where we want to get him at is, driving distance. He's around 308. Accuracy isn't there, so I think that's probably a drawback on him. But his approach stats are pretty good. And when you look at putting stats on POA, he's pretty excellent at that as well. And then his, birdie or better percentage is pretty good. And obviously his scrambling and sand save percentage is great. So I'll be looking to him to do pretty well here. So that's Adam Scott. Next up is Tom Kim. I've been on him for the past few weekends. And I think this is the one where he does well here. I think he'll break out. And I shouldn't say break out. I mean, he's been doing well. But I think this is the one where he has good event history here. He knows the course. He knows how it can play. Especially when you think of the green, especially having a bunker in the middle of a green, hole number 6, and then 18, beautiful course. And then 18 that's got a very steep slope off to the left side if you're looking at the green. And so if you miss left, you're going to hit that hill. And while you can certainly, hope for a bank shot off the hill, but if you get stuck in there, it's going to be a horrible approach shot. So knowing the course ahead of time, being able to figure out how the course is going to play you as a golfer, I think it's going to be key. And then Tom Kim hits all the main categories that we want again, right? So approach off the charts, ball striking again off the charts. His putting on POA, pretty even, it's neutral. He doesn't gain strokes, he doesn't give up strokes. He's doing fine, but he's not super long off the tee. He's at 295. It's about average, right? So the average drive in the PGA Tour is about 299, so he's slightly less than average, but his accuracy is 73%. So he knows how to shape his shots, how to get on the fairway, and that's what we're looking for. And so all his approach stats look fairly well. And then when you're looking at a lot of the important stats that we talked about, scrambling, sand save percentage, birdie or better percentage, doing great. I think Tom Kim does great here. I think he'll show up and definitely in a field of this strength. I think he'll do pretty well. Jason Day. Mr. Jason Day has been doing pretty well as of late at 8,400. It's pretty good value. I mean, he's been ball striking pretty well. He doesn't have a lot of history here, but the trend and what he's been playing in his last 10 events has been great. Only a few times has he missed a cut. Other than that, I would say 90% of the time he's been in the top 20s, or if any, the top 10. So he's been doing pretty well on the courses. Again, his approach, ball striking, has been great. POA putting's been pretty good. Overall putting's been great. So I really think he's got his game together. I think he's going to do pretty well on this course. I'd look for him maybe in the top 20. I know last weekend, at least for my golfers, they averaged around 29th in the position. All of them made the cut except 2, Alexander Noren and Tom Hoagie. All the others made the cut. So I think Jason Day kind of hangs out in the middle, if not towards the top a little bit. But he'll be one of those guys that gets you a lot of good points to help beef out that value around 8,400. Next up, we're going to the bargain bin of the 6 to 7K thousand. So Kelly has Alex Smalley, Davis Thompson, and Kurt Kitayama. I think these are all pretty good picks. I think they have all similar statistics in striking ability and approach. And so they can probably give you pretty good value at their price range. And all of them have, I would say, fairly good history here. So if you're looking for, I would say, good Skechers shoe golfers, they're going to be the ones. And I say Skechers shoes only because they support you. They're going to support your lineups, and they're going to get you from A to B, and they're going to do it comfortably. So those are the Skechers bargain bin picks there by Kelly. I don't think we'll pick up Skechers as a sponsor. Be kind of weird, but you never know. My picks in this range, I didn't pick any in, I would say, the 6 range. To me, I couldn't find any that would kind of round out my particular lines, especially for my particular model. But I'm going with KH Lee. I think, again, he's one of those guys who will just make the cut, but he has this, just a big ceiling. I think his ball striking overall, again, in his approach, will be good here. And so at 7,400, I don't think you can miss. He's got some history here. He's only played here twice, but overall, his last 10 events, he's been kind of up and down, but his stats for this particular course show up pretty well. So approach, he's been pretty good. Ball striking, pretty good. Pull up, he's gaining barely a stroke, but he's not losing. He's got fairly good driving accuracy at 65%. He's over 300 driving. And then when you look at his approach shots, pretty on target. And again, he's going to do okay when he gets into the sand traps. More often than not, he's going to be able to get out. So that's why I look for KH Lee to kind of make a run here. Another person I like is Taylor Montgomery. I think Taylor Montgomery is at 7,600 a pretty good value. Has no history here. Hasn't done well the past few events. I would say last 2 events. I'm going to call those anomalies because before that he was in the top 20 for the past 3. So hopefully he gets it together here. Most of his main statistics that we look for on this particular course are pretty good. His approach needs some work, but off the tee and tee to green, he's doing okay. But where he's going to excel at, I think that's really going to make separate him from a lot of the other people, is being able to putt on POA. And he's got a lot of experience. He does pretty well overall. And so I think that this is where he's going to gain a lot of strokes. I think it's where he's going to make his money. He's going to drive for show at 370 yards, and he's going to putt for that dough later on. Again, like I said, though, he needs to get to the green, and hopefully those approach shots, he can shape those a little bit better and get a little bit closer to the hole and get those birdies that we want. Because overall, birdie or better percentage, he's at 28%. Scrambling and sand save percentage, he's in the 60s. So I think at his particular price, he's a pretty good value. Next up, Mr. Brian Harman. Mr. Brian Harman, who likes to break carts. For Mr. Brian Harman, I have him pretty well up there in my model. And the only reason that he's up there is because of how his approach stats are pretty stellar. He's got some history here. Hasn't been doing well of late. He makes a cut, but that's about it. Um, but when you look at his, again, some of the stats we look at, ball striking, approach, around the green, he's in the green. When you look at putting, he's pretty neutral. On putt, I would say he's basically neutral. Not long off the tee, but gosh darn, that driving accuracy is pretty on point, 70%. So, and then you look at his overall approach shots, he's great. And then the ability to scramble and to sand save is going to save him because he's at 73% and he's almost at 70% on sand saves. So at his price, at the way he's driving the ball, at the way he can approach the green and be able to, hopefully miss the bunkers. But if he does get in the bunkers, he can get himself out of trouble. So I think that's where he's going to make his money, and I think he has the ability to do pretty well here. Now, to my favorite section is the WTF picks, or what the fuck picks. And Kelly has put her pick in, and god damn it, it's Matt Kuchar again, Mr. Kind Eyes. And I think Mr. Kind Eyes can do it here. He's got, again, the experience. You know, it's a Tiger Woods is coming back, and he's going to do pretty well on him and Tiger. Their sons this week were able to play together. So Matt Kuchar's son and Tiger Woods' son got together. While that has nothing to do with golf stats, I think mentality-wise, I think Matt Kuchar wants to do well here. And I would say the same thing for Roy. I think having Tiger back will give Roy a little extra oomph to really just kick everyone's ass on the course today or this weekend. Overall, Matt Kuchar, has done fairly well. He's got a great approach shot. He's pretty good off the tee. When you're looking at driving, he's not long, but he's pretty accurate. And so I think her pick here is the accuracy off the approach and putting, because he's pretty good putter as well. And then when you look at sand save percentage and scrambling, it is off the charts. So 82% sand save percentage, you can't beat that. I think that's almost the highest on the tour. Don't quote me. But that's pretty good. What the fuck pick? God damn it. Always Matt Kuchar. Mine is James Hahn. Now, James Hahn has particular experience here. I think he likes golfing here. His stats overall, honestly, aren't bad. And so when you're looking at, James Hahn, and he's also fairly cheap. And so I think overall he'll do pretty well here. And since most people are going to be trying to, trying to figure out what to do, then I think he'll do pretty well here. Now, let me see something, because I might have looked at the wrong sheet. Hope he's in here. Yeah. But I think James Hahn is going to do pretty well. I think he'll do steady enough to keep her lineup competitive, especially at his price. On DK, he's at 6,700. But when you're looking at his off the tee and approach, he's doing pretty good. And when you look at three-point avoidance, great. And when you're looking at proximity between 175 and 200, he's pretty good. Everything else, could be a little sketchy, but I think for this particular course that he's played well at, I'm going with course history and some very, very few stats to help balance that out. So I think James Hahn is my what the fuck pick. But anyway, I'll go back through these real quick. So Kelly's picks For the expensive range are Max Homa and Rory McIlroy, who I think those two picks are perfect. My more expensive picks are Colin Morikawa, Alexander Schauffele. And then the next up in 8 and 9 is Cam Young and Willie Z for Kelly. And then mine are Victor Hovland, Adam Scott, Tom Kim, and Jason Day. And then the bargain bin Skechers picks are the Alex Smalley and Davis Thompson and Kurt Kitayama for Kelly. And then my picks are Cage Lee, Taylor Montgomery, Brian Harmon for the 6 and 7 range. And then the what the fuck pick, Kelly's is Matt Kuchar again, and mine is James Hahn. Well, that was fun. If you have any questions, again, feel free to tweet or DM them to Kelly in Phoenix at Kelly in Phoenix, or to me at Mr. Hallas. This closes out the show. We'll have everyone back next week. So until then, have a good game. Talk to you later.